right, as I pull out of my favorite store, which is Walmart, and I got upsold with this pizza. You know, they have pizza in the store now. It's kind of insane. Probably not a good choice. But as I was in there, I was actually looking at the one shelf. And if you're in the e-commerce industry, you might have noticed this. There's one shelf in almost every Walmart. I go to a lot of them, that has so many e-commerce products. Like, it's almost as if they're making fun of dropshippers with this shelf. It's like dozens of products. I've sold at least 10 of them. That, you know, they've done extremely well. And sometimes their products aren't even priced that well. You know, I mean, they're higher than I've sold them for, and sometimes they're lower. It's just kind of funny to see. And I was thinking, I'm like, how much money do they make off just this shelf? You know, what's the difference, retail, online? And something just kind of popped in my head, and I've gotten this question a lot. It's kind of like a big picture thing, is your first million with e-commerce, right? What does it look like, you know, your first $1 million? Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about when I did my first million in sales. I want to talk about kind of what led up to that, the timeline, and then the, in my opinion, colossal difference between your first and your second one. And now I figured I might as well point out, just since I'm here, that right there is my property manager's office, that whole thing right there. They're the ones that deal with all my rental properties and manage everything. They do a great job. So anyways, aside from that, let's make one thing very clear, and I think this is something that someone probably already commented. Oh, well, your first million in sales, you didn't actually make $1 million. It's $1 million in sales, meaning revenue. You have expenses on that, and that is true. So in my experience, and in my opinion, because I haven't just done this for myself, I have data, you know, being able to see all these experiences from students, from friends, from random people that weren't students of mine on social media that I just get to meet and talk to. In your first million, your margin is usually lower than the second. Okay, let me explain. And it's especially true in the e-commerce space. As you build, especially if you're running like one store, you're kind of building a brand a little bit. If you're running the same thing, you're building up so many different assets that you don't notice. Your brand name, you're building up on all of your ads a huge amount of comments, and those people might come back later and purchase. They tag people who might come back and see it 3 weeks later. So you're building up all this organic stuff. You're also building SEO backlinks. So the more stuff you do, the longer you're running it, the more stuff that has your name on it everywhere, well, and the more you're talked about online, the higher you're going to rank in Google. So there's a lot of little things like that you know, overall do contribute to you having a higher margin, which is a good thing in the long run. Okay, and I know people keep requesting like a video like this in the car, so I wanted to kind of go on a rant about this, because when I did my first million, it took I would have to say 15 months, probably around a year and a half, because it took me 8 months to make $1. Okay, then like a month and a half after that, 10K in sales, 20K, 40, 50, 70, and it just took off. We're talking revenue, okay? Revenue. And I was spending a lot of money in the meantime because, first of all, I didn't know that my supplier wasn't the best priced. So it took me a little while to realize that. You know, I was spending a decent amount on suppliers. You know, I was still constantly spending so much money everywhere. I also wasn't getting any rewards, meaning I wasn't using credit cards. It was all on my debit card for probably the first couple million in revenue. So the difference there is, you know, on my first million in revenue, I probably made, I don't know, 150, 180 grand. You know, it's a slightly lower margin. Usually I'm pretty consistent at like 25%. Some stores are 35%, others are you know, are at 20. That's fine. Everything has a different market value, everything has a different perceived value. So don't judge your numbers based on someone else's margin. You know, I know people, and I hate thinking like this, but I know people who have like, you know, a really high margin, like 70%. Their ROAS on their ad account, the return on ad spend's like, you know, a 6 or a 7 or an 8 or a 9, but they only spend $400 a day. They only spend $500 a day. And it's like, they make a few thousand a day in sales. Yeah, your margin's high, but I would rather, and this is the approach that has led to me making a lot of profit more than them, again, not that it's a comparison, I would rather just be profitable, whether it's a 2, a 3, a 4, whatever it is, optimized as much as you can. Don't give up on the product and drop it if it's like under a 3. I would rather spend $30,000 a day to make 80, because even though my percentage margin's lower, the dollar amount is higher. And in business, and this is kind of looping this full circle, with Walmart, do you think their margin is insane? It's a good question. I actually wonder what it is. 10%, probably somewhere in that neighborhood. I would doubt it's over 10%, just because, and I'm sure they play the tax game. They buy so much inventory, it's never technically profitable. I'm sure they are at this point, but so much overhead, but it doesn't matter. Nobody talks about their percentage. Nobody talks about a percentage because it's all about the dollar amount. So like I said, with it taking a year and a half to hit the first million in sales for me, and then after that, it was only probably a short 6 months to do another million in sales, because I was probably doing like 150 to 200,000 a month in revenue. I got pretty consistent with that, and I stayed there for a while. And after a while, doing like $5,000 to $10,000 a day in revenue, it really just started getting boring, So I kind of slowed down with e-commerce. I wouldn't really care if something slowed down. I'd just turn it off. And I had more fun teaching, and I still had multiple stores running. I was making good money off that. And year over year, not month over month, but year over year, e-commerce has always been my biggest income stream. So the second million in revenue probably produced 200 to 240,000 in profit. So the margin was higher, and it happened in such a faster time frame. So just understand that when you see people posting big numbers, and it's why I kind of don't like to talk about my sales. I know I made a video talking about scaling well into the millions a month in revenue. I say that to talk about ad strategies. I say that to show the scalability of something, and I say that to show that stuff works. For some reason, people still have it in their head that e-commerce or drop shipping, the word that's always thrown around, is saturated. And nothing's saturated. Stuff can be recycled a lot. I see a lot of people do the same products and they try to rip each other's creatives. If you present your product in a different way and you create your own ads, you should do fine with it. There's no reason why you wouldn't. So, in my opinion, it's just one of those things where you just gotta not worry too much about the actual dollar figure, or excuse me, the percentage. It's more so about the dollar figure. So for me, that's what was always a little bit more valuable, and it helped me focus in on that and dial it in a lot better. I'm gonna let this person go. You go. Yeah, no worries. Always be nice to people. But yeah, so that's kind of just something that I was focusing on more so, is just the dollar figure, and trying not to focus on, oh, I need to do 500,000 this month, or I need to do $1 million. It's great to have targets, don't get me wrong. I definitely have targets, but as long as you're profitable and you're capitalizing on the ads and your margin's not going the wrong way, it's not sliding backwards, that's excellent. You're in a good position. And just so you know, like I said, with your first million, you're not putting $1 million in your bank. You might profit 180 grand or something, or 200 grand. That'd be fine. Even 250,000, perfect. Now you have a chunk of change. You gotta pay taxes on it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, because now you're building up tax returns, and now that's gonna help you if you want to ever get approved for any sort of loan. It's credibility, it's consistency. Pretty much anything you do in business, you're gonna need that. If you want to buy a house, you're gonna need that. So for me, after I'd done that, started making money, it took me a year and a half before I really wanted to start investing. Because for me, I never had a ton of money myself growing up, like cash. So, even having like 10, 20,000 in my bank was huge. So I was a saver, not a spender. And then I realized, okay, the money's coming in. I did it for a long time. I'm like, the money's not going to go anywhere. I have the skill now. I've been faced with a lot of obstacles, and this is the great part about e-commerce. You have skills. Whether or not you can make money for yourself, there's always a company that'll hire you, or you can come in as a freelancer. For example, my Google ad guy who does my Google ads, I don't do them. I try to outsource everything I do. That's a separate conversation. He doesn't make a retainer. I have people that are on payroll, they make a retainer, but he gets a percentage of the sales that he generates that are tracked through Google ads. So that right there, if you have a skill, almost nobody is gonna say no. Now, if you go to Fashion Nova and say, hey, I'll run your ads for a portion of this, they're an established brand, so pretty much anything you run is gonna get a much better return because people know about it. And that goes back to the point of year over year, your margin's gonna get better. You're gonna kind of build up those assets, the keyword ranking, all these different things. So it's just timing, it's patience. Keep running it, even if you're seeing people making millions a month or hundreds of thousands, and you're hitting 6 grand a month, you're doing 200 bucks a day in sales. That's good, that's fine. You're building data. So just don't overthink it. I truly, and that's why I want to put out a video like this, and it might not be, Facebook ads like in my computer. This is just as valuable. It's every possible scenario is what I'm trying to give you. Having the right mindset about the business side of things is huge, because, think about it. It took me 8 months to make $1 in profit. $1, because I was so negative. So what would you do during those 8 months? I saw so many of my friends that I tried to like teach along the way, which was weird because I had no results. I tried to help them and like, you know, show them what I was doing. Not that it was working at all, but they just gave up after, you know, usually 2 months in, just, oh, this is not good. So it's just one of those things. I've seen so many people come and go, and I've seen hundreds and hundreds of people make money. That's a lot of people. You know, like, and I'm talking about people I've directly helped. I'm sure thousands have watched my videos and made money. I don't claim any, you know, success credit or whatever for these people, even students of mine, because at the end of the day, you know, I can give you all the resources in the world, but if you don't do it, no, ain't shit gonna happen for you. So, you know, I'm having fun inside of my business. I love running ads. Like I said, I hire out a lot of the stuff that I do, but for me, Facebook is definitely one of the things that I enjoy running, you know. And like I said, there's gonna be some sort of program that I'm coming out with, hopefully this month, that I'll give you guys access to. It's gonna be a lot less expensive. It's gonna be a lot shorter. It's just gonna focus on ads. So showing you how to scale properly, how to think about money, how to track the numbers inside your e-commerce business, and just everything related to the ads, the marketing. That is it. So, you know, that's what I do on a daily basis. That's where I have my fun. And at the end of the day, that's a skill that I've built over the last 4 years. And if I wanted to, I could go get a job, whether it's on a salary or a percentage, whatever. But that door is open, and that's the key for me. You know, I didn't go to college. I didn't even finish high school. But that is my security net. Hey, I have a skill. Almost anyone would want me to use it on their stuff. So that's the key. Just build a skill, focus on it. Feel free to browse around this channel, find other videos about your problems. We have all sorts of stuff here. Building an e-commerce store, product research, you know, how to set up your ads, how to launch your ads, how to scale your ads. I feel like the videos have been great over the last couple months. I've been getting a lot of great feedback, so I really appreciate you guys who tune into these videos, stick through it all the way, and then leave honest feedback. You know, if there's something you want me to talk about on here, please do. You know, I don't do this because it makes me money. I cover my car insurance and gas off of YouTube ad revenue. The time investment for the return is not worth it. I enjoy doing these. It's fun, helps me meet a lot of people, and it's opened up so many opportunities, truly. So again, I do appreciate you guys. If there's anything you want help with, let me know in the comments below. I'm always active in the comments, answering questions. I would love to help you out. And who knows, maybe you'll get a video on your entire topic. There's hundreds of questions that have inspired videos. So yeah, appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this video at all, I know it's a little different style, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and let me know if you want me to do, I don't know, maybe an episode every week or something, like driving with Hayden. I gotta get some sort of little car mount or something. But I always get good ideas when I'm driving, so when I'm bored, I usually just go drive. I have a huge passion for cars. So enough with that. Get back to running your business and doing whatever it is you do. I wish you nothing but success. Hope you have an excellent day, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.